All right, good morning, everyone. I guess I had just pretty much started here at the University of Kentucky when we got our first week in 2007. I think I've been here for about 6 months or so. So hopefully it's at least another 10 years before we have the next one. As Edwin said, please ask questions if you have them. I'm going to go through. I don't actually have that many slides to go through. I will give the disclaimer that I'm going to hopefully putting out some more detailed information here the next few days. I literally, most of what you're going to see here today was put together between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock last night. So that said, look for some more up-to-date stuff here in the next 2 or 3 days, and let's get started. So first thing, let's just so you see exactly all the assumptions and analysis. You'll see the price that we're using for this year shouldn't be anything out of the blue. So wheat 440 or 445 bushel, corn 375, and soybeans 975. So essentially what we're going to look at is, if you're thinking about terminating that wheat crop, are you going to eventually go to full season soybeans, corn as a comparison? And so those are just prices I'm using in that. In terms of different farm types, I'm going to give you 6 different scenarios you can pick from, kind of figure out what is the closest one to your farm situation, or obviously probably multiple farms you can look at from that perspective. So very quickly, we'll just kind of go down. So on the best ground that we got, and that would be 200 bushel corn, 60 bushel full season soybeans. And then I'm going to give you 2 different wheat yields to pick from. So I know if you go, different places in the state, their wheat yield relative to that corn and bean yields can be very different. So down here in Christian County, especially at the southern part, southern Logan County, you get, my understanding, you get very good wheat yields for that same corn yield versus if we go up to, say, Owensboro or Henderson area. So I've got 80 bushels, which may be more representative on that type of ground north of here, and 90 bushels, which may be more representative in this area.
Can we go in that way yet?
The 175 bushel corn ground, 55 bushel beans. Again, give you 2 different wheat yields there, 70, 80 bushels. We pick either one. And then the bottom, which, 150 bushel corn ground is obviously not bad ground, but I'm trying to get the type of areas where we're more likely to grow the wheat on. So 16, 70 bushel wheat in that area. First question, we'll just kind of get this out of the way and simplify the analysis. So, normally we'd be thinking about, do we go back to full season soybeans or potentially go back to corn, right? If we did that, essentially be second year corn. If we throw in just a 5% yield drag on that. And I'm not going to, we don't have much time here today. I'm just going to show you something that I did here. This is probably a month and a half old. And I think this is probably in Hopkins County when I did this. But here's just kind of a base profitability between, and probably soybeans are 15 cents high here. Again, I did this about a month and a half ago. But at $10 soybeans, 375 corn. These 2 columns, and on the left, that would be 4 different silver activities.
John retired, so she got me raised back to doing crop.
If you compare that, so on the left, that would be for work. On the right,
you're killing me.
Soybeans. What do you notice there in terms of return?
Good to see you, Ryan.
Returns on soybeans versus corn?
Is Dwayne in this morning?
Yeah, this is slightly outdated. You can probably subtract off $10 on the corn side right now. The full season soybeans beats corn hands down this year, right? Which is kind of unusual. But the main thing we're looking at, and that's that's rotational corn. We could probably subtract $30, $40 off that for second year corn. Basically, we're not going to be concerned about going back to corn, or I would anyways. If I'm going to terminate that crop, I'd be going full season soybeans. So all we're going to do is we're going to look at, if you're going to terminate that crop, we're going to compare it against full season soybeans. Does that make sense? Here's just simplifying. Again, I can hopefully make this a little more accurate, but just very quickly, all I'm looking at here is if we terminate that crop and go full season soybeans, what's going to be the difference in our costs from here forward? So don't worry about the planting costs, putting down the nitrogen, et cetera. That's all in the ground, right? Think about what additional costs we're going to have from this point onward until we get that wheat harvested and trucked to the elevator. So for herbicides, fungicides, I've got about $35 extra. And these would be increased costs for your double crops, so the wheat and then soybeans beyond it. Machinery, $35, and trucking, about $5 on extra bushels on the wheat. And roughly $75 in additional costs. And we can adjust this easily, so I'll give you some tables to look at. So if you think you're $25 higher than that, you can just simply subtract or add $25 in the tables I showed you, and we'll explain that later on. These are kind of the main part of the presentation, so let me explain the first one, and there'll be 6 just like this. There are 5 additional ones just like this. So let me kind of explain the first one. The other one should be a little easier to get through. So this would be that top productivity soil. So this would be 200 bushel corn ground, 60 bushel beans, and this would be the 80 bushel wheat scenario. There'll be a 90 bushel wheat scenario that we'll show afterwards. On the left-hand side, that would be your expected wheat yield loss compared to what you typically expect. So everything from 20 down to 50. On the top there, what I'm showing here is if you go back to, I'm sorry, if you stay with your wheat and you plant soybeans after your double crop, I'm going to give you 4 different scenarios here for what you estimate the yield drag, or I should say, well, what the yield reduction will be on that double crop soybean compared to full season soybeans. Does that make sense? Typically, I would use around 20%, and I don't know for sure given the freeze, but if the freeze delays your wheat harvest long enough, what would you expect is going to happen to your double crop soybean yield? Should go down a little bit more, right? So in other words, if you normally expect a 20% drop of double crop to full season soybeans, and if you expect another 5% drop due to the wheat freeze, you'd pick which column? 25%. Everyone see how that works? So that'd be combined your typical yield drag, and then whatever you expect in addition if that harvest is delayed. And just quickly, so if you see positive numbers on when I fill this in, that essentially means that's going to be advantageous to keep in the wheat due to double crop soybeans. If you see negative numbers, that's going to favor full season soybeans. So let's just start real slowly here. So if we expect a 20% drop in our wheat yields this year due to the freeze, what this is saying is that the range would be anywhere from about $1,630 favoring staying up with that wheat. Does that make sense? And so if we take that, obviously the higher the yield drag that we, or shouldn't say yield drag, but the higher the reduction in double crop soybeans that we have, the lower that number is going to be. The closer it's going to go to being negative, right? Which is favor full season soybeans. If we have a 30% drop in wheat yields, it's coming down, but it's still positive, right? So in other words, that's still favoring keeping that wheat and not going to full season soybeans. Obviously, as our wheat yield increases, what's going to keep happening to those numbers? They're going to keep getting lower until what? They hit negative numbers, right? At 40%, we're mostly positive, but we have one incident, what? At 25% yield loss on the double crop soybeans, that we would be negative. In other words, in that situation, basically it would be almost a coin toss, right? But technically that would favor going to full season soybeans. By the way, all right. Let's just see if you're awake, right? By the way, this would not take into potentially other considerations like crop insurance. We'll talk about that here at the very end. If we have a 50% yield wheat loss, now we're in the negative numbers. So in other words, if that was your situation, if you expected that drastic a loss in yield, yeah, it would make sense to go full season soybeans at that point on this particular soil, and that will change. Any questions with this first table? We'll have 5 more just like it. No questions? By the way, this surprised me a little bit. In other words, I thought we're going to hit negative numbers well before 50% yield loss, and I was surprised by it. And I'm going to just, on all these tables, I'm just going to highlight kind of in yellow where those negative numbers are. In other words, in what scenarios would you potentially want to think about for the season soybean? All right, here's the same scenario, except we're going to bump. This is a little bit better wheat grounds. Instead of the expected yield of 80 bushels, we're up to 90. So probably in this area and south of here. I'm just going to fill in the numbers. I'm just going to highlight those negative numbers, which would be the scenarios where you'd probably want to go terminate the crop and do full season soybeans. In other words, there aren't very many scenarios here, right? We'd have to have a 50% yield loss, and we'd have to be about 20% drop on the double crop. So very cool. Any questions here? All right, so here we're going to drop in productivity. So this is our 175 bushel corn ground. And I'm just putting the corn there. Just a lot of people think of productivity by the corn yield, at least I do. So this is kind of our middle ground, and this would be with 70 bushel wheat. And again, I'll show you one more, same thing with 80 bushel wheat. And this would be 55 bushel full season soybeans. So again, I'm just going to fill this in, highlight in yellow where those negative numbers are. So in these scenarios, we'd have to have at least a 40% yield loss on this ground. So why I can go to full season soybeans, terminating that crop.
Can you ask everyone on Zoom to mute their mics again? I think that might be the problem.
Yes, I have a request. This is to our Cyberland. If you can mute your mics, it sounds like that may be causing a little bit of static from here in the room.
Thank you.
Second.
Yeah.
All right. You want me to continue or pause?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Any questions here? All right. So same scenario. Let's just bump the wheat yield up, so up to 80 bushels, so a little bit better wheat ground. And fill this in. Highlight those yellow numbers. In this situation, we'd have to have close to 50% drop in expected wheat yield to want to terminate that crop and go to full season soybean. Again, a lot more drastic yield loss than I thought would be required if we want to switch over. But I haven't done this in 10 years. So my memory is probably fogged up from that. Here we drop down to 150 bushel corn ground, 60 bushel wheat, 48 bushel full season soybeans. Same thing, fill in the table, highlight yellow. There's more scenarios now that you would potentially want to terminate that crop with full season soybeans, but we're still talking about something close to 40% loss in wheat yield to want to do that. And the last scenario, that's with the 70 bushel wheat, same type of ground. Again, fill that in, highlight the scenarios that you potentially want to terminate that crop. Now we're mostly in the 50% range in terms of lost wheat yield to want to terminate that crop. In one scenario, about 40%. No questions there? One right here.
Going back to your initial assumptions, you had an additional $35 acre cost.
Yeah.
But the savings. I guess my question is, how did you come to that number?
I didn't do it as detailed as I want to. So again, I did this last night very late. I tried to get some estimates yesterday from additional. Basically, most of that would be additional harvest costs. In other words, if you're going to keep wheat versus terminating, the biggest part of that would be harvesting it. Trucking was separate. Trucking was additional line. And then I figured one, because we were trying to put probabilities to additional herbicide, fungicide applications. I think I came up with 1.75 applications. So multiply that by 6, that would give you part of that. The harvest would be the bulk of the rest. The trucking was an extra $5, and that was on a per acre basis. Again, if you think I'm, say, $25 low, so actually this would be a good time to maybe talk about that. So say in your scenario, you think your total costs are $25 higher to do the double crop versus terminating. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm going the other way.
Okay.
Because I'm going to continue. I can't get rid of the seed. My additional cost for fuel and repairs.
Right. And so with the harvest, I didn't try to put a full cost with all the fixed. Part of your fixed costs are fixed and part are variable. You don't have time to go into that. In other words, part of the fixed, truly fixed, you don't use that equipment for a year, it's going to depreciate by probably 8% or something like that. But the more hours you put on that equipment, the also lesser work. I tried to incorporate that into the cost. It's not going to be perfect, but I tried to incorporate part of that. But what I guess maybe a good point is if you say I'm $25 too high, you want to bump it down $25, we can adjust all these numbers here, right? Because essentially you're saying you've got $25 less than the crop. We bump all these numbers up by $25. And in reverse, if you thought it was $25 low, you'd subtract $25 from all those numbers. that make sense? That's actually probably a good thing to point out. I set it up specifically that way because I don't know where that should be. And again, I pulled out some real rough numbers yesterday, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not happy with it. I want to do a bit better analysis on this. But for right now, this is the best I could do to, and you can kind of adjust it as you see need.
Also, on the original one, you didn't have land rent or anything factored into that. Would you say you're paying $100 for rent, would you subtract $100 off of this?
Question is about land rent. So if you've got a fixed land rent, like a cash rent, it's not going to factor into it. That's sunk, right? It doesn't matter. At this point, if you don't pay a crop or if you don't plant a crop, you're still going to pay that land rent. Now, the only way it would matter is if you're in a flex type or a crop share type agreement where that land rent, final land rent is going to depend on, say, your wheat versus soybean yield, which it could. My guess is probably not going to have a huge factor, but it potentially could. But if you've got a straight cash lease, it's not going to have any impact on it. It's sunk. It's just like you're in that wheat seed in the ground. It's sunk.
Just gonna be available.
Yes, again, I'm going to try to refine it just a little bit, and within the next few days, I want to have something out. Yes.
And this meeting is being recorded, so it will be available later as well.
Other questions on the tips? Very quickly, here's just a kind of summary. So we did not factor in crop insurance. And I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But so even if crop insurance is not in the cards to even think about, basically there was no situation in all those 6 scenarios where 30% wheat loss led to you wanting to terminate that crop with a cost that I showed. So again, you may adjust those and you may have a scenario that it does. But given the costs I showed, increased cost, there was no scenario of 30% loss that would make sense to terminate that crop. With 40%, there were a few scenarios, maybe 30, 40%, and with 50% loss, there were a fair amount of scenarios where you potentially want to terminate. But that was without the crop insurance, right? Back to that crop insurance, and that may save some of those 50% loss scenarios where it makes sense to hold it. And that brings us to other considerations. First one being crop insurance. And by the way, do we have anyone that's going to talk about crop insurance here? No. Okay.
There's some crop adjusters in here, I believe. Raise your hand if you're a crop adjuster.
All right, so
several.
Good. Because actually, I want to get your input onto this one. I don't know that much about crop insurance. Well, it's where I probably know enough to get myself in trouble. That's about it. What I have heard, which isn't much, but what I've heard about the wheat freeze this year is that in 2007, that they were a lot more lenient about letting you terminate that crop early and potentially getting, the payout that you want. Again, this is just hearsay, but what I've heard is this year they're probably not going to be so lenient about that process. Apparently, a number of people got burned in 2007. In other words, allowing the crops to be terminated that really probably shouldn't have been terminated. Don't know. That's just the hearsay that I've heard. So that said, what are you all hearing? Anyone brave enough to give some general advice? Edwin, you want to take the mic over? I think they need some encouragement here.
Well, someone wants to speak. So consult you guys before you give them a head nod there. So talk to your adjusters before you move forward.
Yes, and that would be my advice if no one wants to speak up. So talk to your adjusters. Let me just say, what I've heard, the rumor is that they may not let you terminate that crop nearly as quick as they did in 2007. The other thing that I'm not really covering is the potential to cut that. So if you are going to terminate it, potential to cut that crop for a silage or some type of forage, which, Chris, are you going to talk about that at all? Okay, so I'm just saying it's a potential option, and that's all I'm saying about it. And again, even with that, you're going to want to talk to your crop insurance adjuster, right? In terms of what are your options with if if you decide to do that, or you're thinking about doing that. And that's it. So there's my contact information. So if you want to bug me 2 or 3 days from now, shoot me an email or give me a call. If you haven't received an up-to-date version of this presentation, I hopefully can send you right back at that time or shortly thereafter more updated numbers.